You guys see that? All right. So as you can see, I'm going to go ahead and handle that right now. And this is just typical of what happens. Give me a bunch of ones if you miss Chille. Hey, everybody. Hey, Chuck P. Hey, Brick Jonesy. What's going on? What's going on? Just had a little bit of a sound problem as usual when you first come into these crazy doggone freaking streams. Sometimes that'll happen. But so we're going to talk about, I've been swamped all day. I don't have a lot of time to hang out with you guys today. I've got another stream scheduled at my other channel at Michael Eline on YouTube. That's going to be tonight at 8:30. So I finally found an example of soliciting a trespass, a real one. So you guys get to check that out. Hey, thanks for all the ones, guys. What's up, SWE Observer? I appreciate all 154 of y'all showing up tonight. I haven't been on in a couple of days. You know, I know there's been all this crazy conspiracy theory nonsense floating around all over the internet about, I guess, Chille was telling people to petition the government, and I guess there's one lawyer who disagrees, and he thinks that that might be not soliciting. So I've encouraged all of you guys to do your own legal research and don't ever listen to anybody until you do your own legal research. Even me, just do your own legal research. And today we're gonna talk about some crazy stuff that's been going on with let me see if we can find this bad chicken here about jails. All right, so you know the so-called frauditor group, I guess pretty much anything that you say, even if it's backed up by Supreme Court precedents, will immediately say that you're crazy, or they'll just want to argue with you and tell you that you're dumb, try to get people to destroy your business or whatever it is that they do. But I wanted to point out that the comments they make about U.S. jails not being dungeons, so prisons and jails and dungeons. So that's what I wanted to talk about today, because I don't really see much of a difference between jails and dungeons, other than just the history, just that dungeons are more associated with medieval times, and dungeons are more associated with medieval times, and jails are more associated with modern times. But in essence, I think we're going to prove today that they're both the same. By the way, thank you, Tempest, for showing up, Mike Johnson, and Anthony Serrano, PCNet, Kevin Hayes, Brick Jonesy, Mark Ross, Team of the Angels. I apologize for my microphone boom going sideways on me earlier, guys. I don't know what the heck that was all about, but that was kind of fun. So let's just get into it really quick. We're going to talk a little bit about why I think that jails really are no different than dungeons. And people who attack you for saying that it's a dungeon, they should do their own research instead of just listening to whoever told them what to think. Because I get this feeling it's almost like these people are programmed to repeat anything that their great leaders tell them. It's almost like the Borg. But I think when you do the actual research, you'll see that Chille's not really wrong. And so here we go. So prisoners are routinely subjected to horrendous conditions of confinement and brutality at the hands of jailers and other detainees. And they suffer a lot of human rights violations. Now, Black's Law Dictionary, the very first one in 1891, defined a dungeon as an underground prison or cell that was placed in the strongest part of a fortress, a dark or subterraneous prison. So really the only distinction between a dungeon and a modern jail would be if the dungeon was located in the cellar of a jail, if you were really going to make a distinction. But the other part of a dungeon that makes a dungeon is that it's enclosed in a stronghold. And just to give you a little bit of a historic understanding, so back in the old days, some prisoners wanted to escape, especially the ones who were going to be hung and sent to the gallows. And they would escape from, the moat and baileys or whatever it is that they had back then. So in their wisdom, the jailers of those times, they developed dungeons, which is basically like a pit, underground with no light or very little light, which is basically just like a county jail. The county jail is freezing cold when you go in there. You got no way to stay warm. You got crazy people all over the place, violent people. The jailers treat you like dog shit. And I would say that it's very similar to a dungeon. And we'll take a look right now. So the overlapping purposes: dungeons, jails, and prisons. So in the historical context, dungeons and prisons are both used to confine individuals, but they do have some distinctions, and it's mainly historical. Okay, dungeons typically were associated with the medieval times, while prisons are more modern institutions. And jails, of course, have been around forever, whether it's a prison or not. So jails and dungeons are actually a little closer together. Now, dungeons were often parts of castles or fortified structures used for temporary housing and holding. Hopefully you guys are liking this so far. Give me a bunch of ones if you think this is a cool topic, because I hate it when people just start calling you guys names and they don't even know what they're talking about, because there's really no difference between a dungeon or a jail. We're gonna learn this together. So dungeons were primarily used for temporary detention, just like a county jail, guys. No different than Clark County. Now, it also talks about, dungeons were also used for torture or punishment, and they were often dark or damp. Well, that depends on your view of torture. I mean, you putting people who are nonviolent in basically like a gladiator school where they can learn how to become better criminals, and they have to join a gang in order to survive, right? That's county jail or prison, right? You got to, the white guys have to hang with the white guys, black guys have to hang with black guys, Mexicans or whatever, Latinos. You see what I mean? So it's all part of that. That is torture to a lot of people. That a lot of guys come out of jail with PTSD, and there's a lot of bad cops who beat the crap out of prisoners and jail and detention personnel. I'm not saying that that's happening right now in Clark County. I don't know that to be true, but I know it happens all the time. Give me a bunch of ones if you know, or if you've been to jail and seen sheriffs beating the shit out of people when they were totally outside their bounds, exceeding the use of force. I've seen it. And I've had a lot of clients who have suffered it. So don't try to tell me that it doesn't happen, or you're high. Now, prisons, on the other hand, are institutions designed for long-term confinement, rehabilitation, or punishment, depending on the legal system. So in my opinion, jails are more like dungeons than prisons. Now, the conditions: dungeons were harsh environments, but many modern prisons lack the same amenities, and they're also unsanitary. Prisons are likely subject to more regulations and regarding the treatment of inmates, thanks to the 8th Amendment. But if you've been to prison, you see that the jailers can just convince other prisoners to beat you or kill you, and they could do it for something as little as a commissary chit. So don't tell me that doesn't go on. It does. It goes on all the time. So that's torture. So I would say that jails are probably more like prisons because of the temporary intent behind the jail and the temporary intent behind the dungeon. So jails are more like dungeons than they are like prisons, if I said that wrong. So prisons purportedly operate within a legal framework with defined procedures for arrest, trial, and incarceration. But many people believe that they're just like dungeons, lack legit legal processes, and are often used arbitrarily by those in power, like judges, for example. They just arbitrarily will just lock someone up if they don't like them. I'm sure a lot of you people have seen examples of that recently, in your opinion, now that with the Chille DeCastro case. Now, architecture: dungeons were often underground or fortified structures. They were designed to be difficult to escape, just like prisons. True, they can vary widely, but they are fortified above ground with more complex layouts and wings and cell blocks. Jails and prisons can also be towers as well, like the old dungeons had. So they both serve basically the same purposes. Dungeons are more associated with historical methods of punishment, but I mean, I think you're splitting hairs. So let's compare, Clark County, Nevada jail to a dungeon. Well, the only real argument that people could make is that, well, Clark County is modern and has contemporary legal framework, and dungeons had old legal framework. So, people say they locked legal standards, but a lot of people think that modern correctional facilities lack lawful standards. They just have these voluminous laws that nobody really obeys. I mean, cops constantly, all the drugs that are coming into these county jails, they're not coming in from family members. It's the guards that are bringing them in, guys. Come on, wake up. Especially a place like Clark County. I mean, the place is completely locked down. There's no way you can get anything in there. Not even family members are allowed to see their families face to face. You got to do it over a phone. So, all you people who think that the government's honest, it's just a racket. It's a legal gang. Less government is more freedom. And that's the whole point of having a constitutional republic, say most of the civil libertarians out there. So anyways, in America, we have a huge system of incarceration. We have a for-profit prison system. The politicians get huge financial donations from these scumbags with these private prisons. We know that several judges have been, the judges that have been caught anyways, have been busted for taking payoffs from private prisons, making sure to keep the prisons full. And we also know that judges have been busted doing backroom deals with child protective services workers and foster care parents so they can all steal people's kids. So don't tell me that this stuff doesn't go on. And we have an amazing system of incarceration, just like our military industrial complex, where politicians basically are owned by these tax-funded institutions. And this is exactly what our founding fathers did not want. And so America doesn't have one legal system. It has thousands, federal, state, local, and even tribal systems. And together, these systems hold over 1.9 million people. And that's 1,566 state prisons, 98 federal prisons, and 3,116 local jails, 1,323 juvenile correctional facilities, and 142 immigration detention centers. And then, of course, 80 Indian country jails. And there's also military prisons, civil commitment centers, psychiatric hospitals, prisons in the U.S. territories, and we're paying $182 billion a year. Heck, that's almost as much as we pay for the illegal alien invasion that we're bringing up here to redistrict everything with your tax dollars so we can change the elector system forever to a bunch of welfare check voters. Congratulations, guys. So we have 1 in 3 people behind bars in jails. So 1 in 3 people who are actually locked up are actually in jails. And I got to tell you something, guys. Twin Towers in Los Angeles, many say it's worse than state prison. So these county jails are hellholes. And I wouldn't wish county jail in LA on my worst enemy. So now, jail mortality. Jails are sometimes referred to as the front door of the criminal justice systems. They're run by local governments, and they are the majority of the populations are there for pretrial purposes, and they're not convicted. So you've got people who are just accused awaiting trial in these jails. The data on how many people will die is notoriously inaccessible. That's another problem with our government, is they only want us to be open when it comes to people they don't like. Like if they don't like TikTok because it competes with their major campaign donors at Facebook and Google, well, they'll just want to put them out of business, and any data that they have about how it happened, well, that will be notoriously inaccessible. Just like how we learned in the Twitter files what happened with the FBI and the CIA collaborating with companies like Twitter to bury the now known to be true Hunter Biden laptop story in order to change the results of an election. That's called election interference. That was done by our FBI and CIA, and they have revolving door employment with these big tech companies. So why wouldn't they help these guys try to change the results of elections when it guarantees them a paycheck for the rest of their life. So again, we have all this crazy data that's unavailable, but the available reports about the deaths from the Bureau of Justice Statistics does offer some perspective. We'll just go down here. Between 2000 and 2019, jail mortality rose by 11% from 151 per 100,000 to 167 per 100,000. Roughly 4.9 million people are arrested and jailed each year, some of them multiple times. Overall, there were approximately 10.3 million admissions to more than 3,000 U.S. jails in 2019. As of 2019, Black people were jailed at a rate more than 3 times that of white people. So that's pretty much all I have to say about that, as Forrest Gump would say. Now you can see there in that picture that the above and bottom, that looks like a typical jail cell to me that you would see in any modern county jail, other than the fact that it's got an arched doorway. But I mean, it's just concrete, it's freezing cold, and it's basically torture. I mean, give me a bunch of ones if you think that going to jail is torture. Because I think it's torture. I think it's horrible. You've got these innocent people, or people who certainly are not violent criminals, being locked up for a month or 2 months. That could take away their ability to feed their family. They'll lose their job. I mean, the side effects of throwing someone in the can for a nonviolent crime can be catastrophic, and it's also a major cause of suicide. I mean, you could lose your family. When you get out, you got nothing. I mean, what do you have to live for? I mean, that's the Canadian government's dream right there, right? Government-assisted suicide. Less carbon breathers or carbon producers, right? Unbelievable what's going on. Terry Lynch, I must admit you're right. I don't know if that's me that you're saying that to, but I appreciate that. And then we have Zempus saying court takes a year in Polk County, Florida. So does that mean like you'd be a year in lockup? Is that what you're saying, awaiting your trial? Of course, some people think that Chille belongs there, but I would say that from what I saw from this last arrest video, I mean, he didn't even get any exculpatory evidence entered into the record. I mean, his own body cam footage wasn't even used, and clearly it was exculpatory. Certainly he shouldn't be there for as long as he is. I mean, obviously that was in my opinion, that was an unfair sentence. And by the way, I've told all of you guys from the very beginning, look, Chille and I don't always agree on everything, but I do think that he's incredibly brave. And I think we need people out like him out there fighting for what they think is right. Now, one thing that I disagree with him on, and I've told you guys this from the very beginning, is that you don't want to be contacting and flooding courthouses and jails with letters and phone calls, because it's not going to do anything to help you or Chille. If you really want to petition the government for redress, what I think you should be doing is running for office. I think you should be studying law. I think you guys should all be trying to become lawyers. If you really want to make change, you need to make changes from within the system. And if you really, that to me, that's the ultimate form of petitioning. You need to know the law and mean to keep it well. And by the way, I just finished my book on how I became a lawyer without law school. And I'm going to offer that as part of a membership with you guys who want to learn the law. So as you know, I'm a graduate of the California State Bar Law Office Study Program. So I became a lawyer on a very special program. I think only about 60 people actually have successfully accomplished it, at least at the time I passed it. It was less than an 18% pass for guys like me without a traditional law degree. So you can definitely do it. By the way, I did end up going to a law school later, just because I knew people would be saying, "Oh, you didn't go to law school, so you're no good." So I was a practicing attorney and went ahead and got a JD at night. But I'm much more successful than I would say 99% of the people that I went to law school with. And so I would say to you that the traditional method of becoming a lawyer, which was reading for the law, the real way to become a lawyer was reading for the law like a Mason would, like a guild. And you would You would train under a lawyer or a judge or several different lawyers and judges for a period of time. And it's almost like earning a belt, like a belt system in judo. Eventually you work your way up until you can enter the bar. And that's what you would literally be able to enter the bar. You would stand before the judge or a panel of judges, and they would give you an oral exam. And once you passed the test, you would enter the bar. The modern law school thing is more of a, typical academic system where it's evolved from Christian institutions to very far left Marxist institutions and very secular humanist. And they don't really teach the history of law. So it's very difficult to, when you have a system like that it's the antithesis of the Bill of Rights, because you have a group of people who hate the Bill of Rights teaching law, because you cannot support a Hobbesian Leviathanic system and support the Bill of Rights. They're both opposed to one another. Natural law is based upon the concept that your rights come from an all-powerful creator and they can't be taken away. The Hobbesian modern academic reasoning is that all rights and power flows through the barrel of a gun from the government. And if anything that you do that we disagree with is violent, then you must be silenced. Put a bunch of ones in the sidebar if you agree with me. Put a bunch of twos if you think I'm a crazy conspiracy theorist for pointing out this obvious fact. Now, Anthony's talking about felons. I don't know about that, what he means by that, but typically felons are not going to be in a county jail. They'll be in a state prison. And let me see here. Now, I did notice, guys, by the way, what's the matter you, that it does appear that YouTube is just on their own deleting a lot of comments, and this has happened on my channel as well. So I'm not really sure what that's all about. But I hope that you guys sort of get an idea. Like, do you sort of see that there's really no difference between a dungeon or a jail when you look at the definition? But you'll always hear these people immediately attack Chille and say, oh, it's not a dungeon. What are you talking about? Or torture cuffs aren't really, it's not really torture. It's a handcuff, but it is torture. And I've represented clients who have had to have their hands amputated, guys. Don't tell me it's not torture. And there's a lot of real asshole cops that'll just put them on too tight on purpose because they're punks. And there's a lot of people who get jobs in politics and government and law enforcement because they're punks, because they're narcissists. So don't just assume because somebody is in a position of authority that they're authoritative as a person. A lot of these people are lowlifes, and you need to petition and you need to hold them accountable. And that's why I think that lawyers in particular should support First Amendment auditors and people who are trying to hold law enforcement accountable. What do you guys think? Do you think they should just get a pass? Yes, Anthony, felons can become lawyers. The deal is typically the way that the bar exam works, and pretty soon there won't be a bar exam in California because it's the race to the bottom. They say it's racist to have a bar exam, apparently, because they're saying allegedly that blacks and Latinos can't pass it at the same rate as Asians and whites. So therefore it must be racist, and we need to lower the standards. So now they have a pilot bar exam program that they're rolling out. So there probably won't even be a bar exam pretty soon, but we'll have a conversation about that another time. It's kind of ridiculous. There's no standard. When there's no standards, you have no standards. And when you import the third world into your country, you become a third world country. It's common sense, guys. It's ridiculous. But yes, so typically a felon would be allowed to sit for the bar and even get sworn in, assuming that they were not charged or convicted of a crime of fraud or dishonesty. That is typically what they're looking for. And what they're looking for also, what I've heard, like a little birdie told me, is they're looking to see if you'll lie about it or not disclose it. So you have to do, like, I had to do this massive thing, because I've been arrested before too, and had to have explain everything and provide affidavits, witness, you name it, man. Like, I must have given them a ton of stuff. And the goal here is that you just tell them everything, guys. You don't try to hide it. You don't try to lie. And if they see that you're honest, because honesty is what it's all about, right? Because you don't want to hire a lawyer who's going to lie to you. And I take a lot of pride in being honest with my clients and erring in favor of them if there was a misunderstanding, because I don't want bad blood. I already know people hate lawyers, especially personal injury lawyers. They call us ambulance chasers and all that. So, you already know you're in a bad spot. So you got to do everything you can to try to be honest and have integrity and show people that they can trust you, that they can count on you, that you're going to be there for them. And so that's one of the reasons why, I have gratuitously made as many efforts and attempts as I could to visit Chille in jail. So he knows that I'm not just, helping him with some out of state cases, that I care about his well-being and welfare. And that's what a good lawyer does, because we're not just lawyers, we're counselors at law, and counselors counsel and they console when necessary. And, even if it was one of the people's frauditor person's family, I would do the same for them. I'm totally neutral and blind when it comes to justice and helping people who, when I feel that they've been wrongfully imprisoned. So, yeah. And let me see here. Google will never go down for suppressing speech. That is probably true, even though I believe that they're in violation of the Communications Decency Act. And I've got some videos on my channel, by the way. This one, they're a little bit older, so you're going to have to go through, and it won't be live. It'll be the video section. But I have some videos about, I think it's Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. It's been a while, but basically what these big tech companies are doing is they're unfairly competing with other people who are on their platforms. Everybody's like, oh no, they're a private business, they can do whatever they want. Well, if they were a private business and could do whatever they want, then why do they need protection, right? Then take away their immunity for defamation, because what they're doing is they're using this Section 230 as an excuse to unfairly compete, violate RICO laws, and all kinds of other stuff. So let's say you build a really powerful channel and they can sell a lot of advertising on it or whatever. Well, what they want to do is they want to demonetize that channel, right? So they can get all the profits from any ads that are running on it. And that's kind of the gig that you hear a lot of people talking about. There is a Jason, I'll remember his name. We'll talk about it another time, but yeah, so you're right. The big tech and all these companies, like when they put a fact check label on there, that is a violation of Section 230, because they're no longer being neutral. They are now making an affirmative allegation that you or something you posted is untrue. In other words, they're defaming you, especially because we know 99% of those fact check labels doesn't even check the facts of the actual article. They'll make up a set of facts that don't even exist in the article, and then they'll say that's false, and they'll use that as an excuse to ban you. And they only do it if you're a conservative or a libertarian. They don't fact check liberals or Democrats. So we know that they're all in the tank for the other side. And I'm not saying this to be political. Let's just face it. Big tech, Silicon Valley, most of the government agencies, most administrative agencies and school teachers are in the tank for the left. And so a lot of regular people who pay their taxes and stuff like that, they don't like it because they think it's become like political theater, and they don't think that they're getting fair representation. For example, the post office, 99% Democrat, they're the ones who deliver the ballots. I mean, a lot of people don't think that's fair. So rather than ridicule them and make fun of them, oh my God, thank you, Matthew. So thank you. Does he only have to do 50% of his time of that being? Okay, so Matt, here's the deal. Again, I want to remind all of you guys that I am a California and Texas lawyer. I do contract law. I do personal injury. I do some criminal defense, but only big stuff, like felonies and stuff like that. So I try to not do misdemeanor cases. And so I'm not able to speak too much on what Nevada will do. But typically, from what I've heard about his case, is that he will get time shaved off for being a good inmate and not causing trouble inside. Now, I would imagine if the judge has any input on whether or not he'll get good time, there's a high probability that he will have to do his whole term. Now, put it in the comments if you guys disagree with me, because and again, I'm not sure. I'm just saying I would imagine. So don't hold me to it. Now, I do agree we need to end qualified immunity. Now, Frank, you're not gay. Well, that's fine. I don't think anybody really cares. Dungeons are where men get separated from baby rapers. Well, that could be one thing. Well, okay, so if you're talking about solitary confinement, well, solitary confinement, I guess that would be probably pretty close to uh to a dungeon, right, guys? I mean, because you're locked in what you would think traditionally is a dungeon. But then when you go back and you look at these pictures of the dungeons that I showed you, let me see if I can find it again. See that? So when you look at that, I mean that's basically like how a modern prison cell is. There's actually more room in these old prehistoric or ancient medieval dungeons that I've seen than there are in these tiny little 8x8 or whatever prison cells. So go figure that one out. That's pretty wild, right? By the way, anybody see BZ Watchdog in here? Because I'm going to do a show at 8:30 on my other channel if he wants to join me. It's going to be so tonight we're going to do a show. I'm going to do a show about an example that I found on the Civil Rights Lawyers channel. By the way, he's got a really great channel. I really like his videos, and he's really lawyerly. He comes off real good, really dynamic guy. And what I found is this video that actually supports the idea of soliciting a trespass, because most of you guys are totally wrong about soliciting a trespass. Asking a cop asking a shopkeeper if he wants if the shopkeeper wants the cop to cite someone for trespass is not an illegal criminal solicitation of a trespass. Okay. And I've talked about that in another video. There's only very, very rare times. And so a lot of the auditors and cop watchers, and even people allegedly who have law degrees who I guess couldn't pass the bar exam, think that soliciting, like when Mormons or Jehovah's Witnesses go door to door and try to like sell their religion to you, is the same as soliciting a hooker, I guess. And so we're going to get into that on my channel at 8:30 tonight. And that's going to be at the @Michael Eline channel. I would really like it if you guys would join me there. Oh man, we got another one. Are you kidding me? Matthew Howell. Oh, I think it's the same one. Okay, that's fine. But thank you. And yes, and I don't know if he's going to do 50% of his time or how that works. I don't think it works in Nevada like 1 for 1. I think it's like one good time is like a half of a day, off your sentence. They shave a little bit, but I'm not really totally sure. Put it in the comments if you guys know. Yeah, and that's a great question. How many men come out of prison better people? And I would say, well, out of prison, probably no one. Out of jail, people who were there for a couple days, like some dumbass kid who was drinking and driving and you got lucky and got out and got a plea bargain. That may have made that young kid a better person, because I guarantee you they'll never drink and drive again. Like sometimes people do get scared straight. In fact, Judge Benitez is under fire, our Second Amendment judge. You know that all the liberal judges are doing anything they can to get him removed from the bench because they hate the Second Amendment. So they're going after Judge Benitez, Benitez. Google Judge Benitez when you guys get a chance, and you can see how the Leviathan will eat its own if you don't support the lofty goals of the stripping of the unalienable rights from we the people. It's an amazing, amazing thing, guys. Amazing. So, yeah, OTVO. And let's do this. Let me see. Let me try to be like Chille a little bit. Make sure to hit the like button. Hit the like and subscribe button. Gotta get that like and subscribe button. Let's get it going, guys. Let's make it happen. Hit the like and subscribe button. Guys, make sure to save this to your friends and family members too. This is kind of a cool one, because now you can tell people who say, oh, it's not a dungeon, you're just a conspiracy theorist. You can show them this video. I mean, there's really no difference, guys. I mean, it's, a dungeon, typically would be underground, but my research indicates that some dungeons were above ground and encapsulated in stone, or like a barricade, a fortress type of a situation for, the really wanted, like the Tower of London, guys. The Tower of London is a tower. It's up there, and it's also called a dungeon. So like all of you morons who want to split hairs and have these debates and get crazy over that, now you can see, yes, it is a dungeon. A jail is a dungeon, and you get tortured there. And yes, handcuffs are torture cuffs. And many of my clients have lost their hands as a result of torture cuffs. And yes, there is a better way to restrain people without popping their shoulders out of joint, without throwing them on the ground and arm barring them when your police camera is off. I mean, come on, guys. Let's get real. All right, so let's see here. Thanks, I guess. I don't know if the video was so good. Look, the very first part of this thing, my boom was flying all over the place. I looked like a complete tard, but I got it figured out. So that's what matters, right? Because we do so much with so little, we can do anything with nothing. I grabbed a cord and wrapped it around the boom thing and did all this crazy last minute stuff. I literally have this boom balancing. If I touch it right now, it's going to fly either forward or backward. It's on a fulcrum right now. It's like a judo guy getting ready to get thrown. All right, so let's see here. So Raider Scott knows what's going on. Yeah, these guys are going to do everything they can to take out Judge Benitez, man. Anytime you have a judge that supports the Constitution or the Bill of Rights, you're going to, especially at the Ninth Circuit, you're going to have all the Ninth Circuit judges and the liberal justices doing anything they can to get him off the bench. And we've seen multiple examples of that happening in real time all the time. I'm just moving my light there. I could see it. It looks kind of weird. A little better. All right. By the way, give me a bunch of ones if you like my lighting. So this lighting, guys, is exactly like the lighting that I saw at Chille's studio. And he told me that sound and lighting are the number one thing. He said that the lighting is actually more important than the sound. So I've got a light up there, like over top of my head. I've got two lights here, another two lights over there, one coming right at me. So tell me if you like it, because I think it looks really good, like real professional. Oh, thanks for the ones, guys. Thanks. And now Esther says a lot of people come out of prison better people. Thank you. Now, Esther, if that's true, that is amazing. And you know what? I guess I can roll it back a little bit, because I have seen people become born again Christians and really turn their lives around and get into prison ministries and try to help people. So yeah, I'll roll that back. There are no absolutes when it comes to humans. You can't just condemn people because they did one bad thing, right? I mean, there are some bad. I mean, they mess with my kids. I mean, they won't have a chance to get reformed, but that's another story for another day, right? But let's see here. So David, I'm just looking at your comments, guys. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and ask them. I wasn't planning on being on here for too long. Honestly, I'm volunteering my time here. I want to make my standard disclosure. Okay. Number one, I'm not making any money from anything, from any of Chille's fundraisers, he offered to pay me once a long time ago for me helping him do some stuff that was not law related, just like stuff like this. And I wouldn't take the money. So I don't have any financial interest in this, but I do want to help him with his channel. I want to keep it alive because I really think that the idea behind DeleteLawz, which is DeleteLawz, right? I think we should elect people based upon repealing laws. Like, how many laws will you repeal if I elect you? Give me a bunch of ones if you think that's a great idea. So that's what I'm all about. So I'm about deleting laws, not passing more. You shouldn't judge politicians based upon taking away more of your rights. You should judge politicians based upon how many of your rights that they gave you back. That's what I think. And give me a bunch of twos if you disagree. And yes, sure, Chille can run for governor if he wants. There shouldn't be anything disqualifying him as of yet. Now, yeah, so a lawyer, yeah, 65. Yeah, so Frank, so typically I charge about $500 an hour for appellate work. And then on criminal defense matters, between $250 and $350, whatever the lodestar is gonna, for felonies more. And then, for personal injury stuff, it's just on a contingency. So if I don't win your case, I don't get any money. And typically I'll put a lot of money. It could be hundreds of thousands of dollars of my own money that I've saved to fund your case. to help pay for things like expert witnesses and depositions, court filing fees, and then pray to the case gods, right, that your case will settle or we'll get a favorable jury verdict. But yeah, I don't really like doing hourly cases, but sometimes you have to. Like a defamation case, you really can't take on a contingency because insurance won't cover a defamation award if the other side loses. And typically, if it's a small fry guy, they're just going to file bankruptcy and lose everything that they have. So I typically, if someone's running their mouth and acting stupid, typically I'll sue them and try to settle with them if they're poor, and if they're rich, I'll stick it to them because I know they can pay it. But I'm not one of these guys who's going to try to make you burn in hell for the rest of your life if you do something like that. All right, so let's see here. Trump wants total immunity for all government employees. Now, I don't know that to be true, and I'm not a big Trump supporter. I mean, Trump was a Democrat all of his life until he became a Republican, and he ran the budget like a Democrat. So the upside with Trump is that he did appoint some decent Supreme Court justices who are protecting our Second Amendment, and that's a big deal to me because I want to be able to have my kids to be able to protect their family the way I was able to protect them, and the tradition of going out and learning how to shoot, how to clean your weapon, and all that good stuff. Yeah, my lawyer, listen to this. So my lawyer had a great assistant and made my mom feel better. And that is exactly SCP-4494. And that's what I try and do. And that's why I don't take on a lot of cases, because when I have tons and tons of clients, I'm not able to make them feel better. And part of your job as a lawyer isn't just to lawyer, it's to also counsel and treat people, especially injured people, as if they're part of your family. And I always say, you're not just a file with us, you're also our friend. And I want to be your friend, especially when I'm representing you, because if you have a hostile relationship, you're not going to be effective, either one of you, and you're going to get less money. And it's just, life's too short. All right, so let's just look here. And then, of course, 2A confirmed says he supports red flag laws. He's not pro-gun. No, I get that. So, guys, in this corporation that we call the United States, I guess things have gotten so bad that a lot of people just think if you can just get a tiny win, like be able to have the right to keep and bear arms for a few more years, is good. Just keep in mind that all the things that you're talking about, 2A confirmed, won't matter, because guess what? Once the illegals redistrict everything, do you think we're going to have a Second Amendment anymore? What party do you think is going to be taking over everything? I mean, look what happened to California. They would lose, I think, 11 or 12 congressmen or something if illegal aliens didn't live in California. So the way it works is illegals don't need to vote. They just send them to a poor area, and then the district will split, and they'll get a new congressman or a senator. So there could be 500 illegals in that district and maybe one voter. And that one voter is all it takes, and he can basically get you a new congressman. So that's how it's really working. Hey, check it out. BZ Watchdog. Yay, yay. I guess he doesn't see my chats. Attorney V State. All right. And yeah, we do have a separation of powers doctrine. So many things I want to talk about with you guys. Yeah, give me a bunch of free chilies. Free chili, guys. Free chili. And come on my channel tonight at, I think it's 8:30. I'm gonna do this little show, and then I want Anthony Serrano, if you could get together some ideas of things that you guys want me to talk about, like articles you'd like me to write, or legal issues that you're concerned about. Like I did one today. I got really good response. It's like I kind of remastered one that I did years ago, but it was about, yes, you have to sign off on your settlement. Your lawyer can't just settle your case out from under you, and you see that happening a lot. These lawyers, they'll do stuff like that. They'll settle the case for less than it's worth, take the money, steal it from the trust account, go party or whatever, and then hope that the next case will come in and then they'll pay you from that. And it's like a pyramid scheme with these guys. And I just never could understand that, because like for me, becoming a lawyer was a big deal. Like, whoa, man, there's major responsibilities that go along with this. So yeah, free big homie Chille. Check that out. Free big homie Chille. So my body is breaking down at 46 from all the beatings by police. Well, man, you got to stay away from police, dude, because that's a lot. That is a lot. Let's see here. And somebody wants some free beer with their chili. So Cody, somebody get Cody Lane a free beer. All right, let's see here. That's right. That's right, Brick Jonesy. Good seeing you again, man. Two-way confirmed. Yeah, I get what you're saying, two-way. I don't want to get super political. Oh, check this out, man. So what I want to do is make sure that you guys are armed with knowledge. So now we know that, yes, in fact, that a jail and a dungeon are pretty much indistinguishable. Now, you can get a fine-tooth comb and you can find other dictionary definitions that say a dungeon is only in the ground, right? But we know that's not true, because the Tower of London is a dungeon and it's in a tower. So we know that's not true. So you have to learn semantics. And if you are going to argue with ignorant people, at least be able to have the artillery to win every time handily, to where everybody in the room knows that you won. Because typically they'll use ad hominem and they'll use insults and juvenile-like attacks. And so you just have to hit them with facts and not engage in the personal attacks and insults. And then you'll win every time. And let's just see here. Oh, wow, look at this, dude. Thank you, BZ. Tomorrow is big audit day. Hitting several locations, will be in the field. So maybe what I can try to do is, guys, and give me a bunch of ones, guys, if you want me to do this. Maybe I can log into the DeleteLawz channel tomorrow, but it won't be till later, because I got to work all day tomorrow. It's going to be a big day for me. But maybe I'll be able to log in on DeleteLawz, and we could do like a live show with BZ where he's out auditing. Maybe we can catch him chasing down some cops and having some fun. Just give me some ones if you guys want me to do that, because I'm down to do that. As long as Brian from Here's the Deal isn't going to be filming. So I just need to know pretty quick so I can book my space, because I don't want to because I'd rather have Brian on than me. He's way better than me at this, guys. I'm just a lawyer. He's a real activist, I'm kind of an activist, but I'm an activist for my wife and kids. He's an activist for everyone. I'm just an activist for them, and I'm a hired gun for everyone else, I guess. And then, well, I guess I'm an activist here with you guys. I guess this is my free time. This is my volunteer activist time. So yes, I'm an activist. And the dear master wants me to do a 3. So what does the 3 mean, Dr. Hunter Master? What does that 3 mean? I got to know. No. Okay. So yeah. So no phone privileges have been taken away. If I was a betting man, I would bet that Chille has decided to focus on trying to become a lawyer on the law study program, not making waves, and just doing his time and letting the appellate process work its way out. If I was a betting man, that's what I would think. And I would say that that's a pretty solid bet that you would win. Now, when is he coming back? Well, man, if I could sneak a video camera into the Clark County Detention Center, he could be back tomorrow. We could be live streaming from the pods, it'd be great. But yeah, he's still locked up, Chris. Yeah. Hey, Mama Lion, how's it going? Yeah. All right. So anyways, let's see here. It's we've been on this bad chicken for about 50 minutes. I can stick around for another 10 minutes if you guys have any questions or anything. If not, I'll just wrap it up. I'll get ready for my next show on the Michael Eline channel. Let me see here. Please tell Chille how to be more successful to become a governor. Maybe. You never know, Stacy. I mean, a lot of time to read. Great time to read law books. I mean, this would be a great time to steel yourself and get ready to take that bar exam. Now, Dave says he's a trucker. Hold on a minute. Some cams and equipment if I win this fight. So, you know, David, you should reach out to BZ Watchdog. We'll have you on the show. I'm really interested in truckers. Yeah, when I was growing up, my dad had a CB in his Porsche, you know, and I was rubber ducky, and he was who was he, like Big Daddy? I think it was Big Daddy. And man, we had the CB. It was just fun, man. And truckers, you know, like this is Black Beauty, because my dad had this black Porsche Turbo, and it was called the Black Beauty. That's what we called it. And that's when the Smokey and the Bandit movies had come out. And so ever since I was a kid, I just really liked truckers. You know, they honk at you and wave to you as you're driving by. And so, yeah, man, I would love to have you on. I really like truckers. I just think that they're legit heroes, what they do for our country. Give me a bunch of ones if you think truckers are heroes. I think the crap that they put up with jerks cutting them off and not respecting what they do, bring it, you know, for hardly anything. And then all these stupid government regulations that just basically steals from the mouths of their families. Unbelievable what these guys go through. So yeah, give me a bunch of ones for those truckers, man. Really respect you guys. I really respect the blue collar people that make this country work. Remember, my background is construction. My dad was a builder. He dug ditches for $2 an hour and ended up becoming the general manager in charge of construction for all the Denny's restaurants and Winchell's Donuts in all of the United States. In fact, there probably isn't any Denny's that was built after like 1990. Anywhere that you have eaten at that my dad didn't build, that he was there supervising. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Parents were divorced, so I would fly. That literally back then, like as a little kid, they just put the stewardesses would take care of you like babysitters, big 747, and like fly me from Orange County to New York or Chicago, wherever dad was. It's amazing. Let me see here. Hey, King Braveheart, good seeing you. Yeah, truckers, farmers, miners, absolutely, loggers. Those are the real heroes, guys. They really are. Those guys are something else. These are the kind of guys, you know, their hands are like gloves. They can just take an engine out of a car, you know, and just pull it out. They're just, you know, like if I, you know, having a daughter, I think, you know, man, who would I want my daughter to marry? Like some rich Harvard grad, or, you know, some burly guy that is good with, you know, knows how to build stuff. I'd probably go for the blue collar guy for her. Yeah, I think that would just be better. She's smart enough, you know, she could figure it out. You know, but anyways, give me a bunch of ones for all those, for those truckers, farmers, miners, and loggers. Those, tell me you agree with Brick Jonesy that they're the real heroes. I think they are too. Yeah, right on. Yeah, you know, Shelly, I really like truckers. I'm going to tell you that again. And if there's anything that I can do, because I know they get screwed, like, you know, if they get any points or anything like that, it's almost impossible to get insurance. And those commercial licenses, you lose one of those things and you're looking at losing your whole life. And yeah, I mind you, I know there's issues, but most of the problems with the trucking and the violations or whatever is because of the laws themselves. Like the regulations are so incredibly expensive to comply with. Now, instead of getting new tires, they start carving their tires, right? Because they can't afford new tires. You know, now because they've got to have this trip sheet that requires them to take all these breaks, they got to speed to get to their next destination because the roads are in such a poor state of disrepair, especially in California. It's a disaster. I mean, the roads there, I mean, it's unbelievable. Like the way I lost a couple suspensions just driving around city driving on my cars. I mean, unbelievable. Yeah, unbelievable. I really feel for you guys, you know, especially the jerks that cut you off. You know, moving mines. I personally do not deal. I used to, that's how I ended up becoming a lawyer. I was one of these guys that used to fight all my traffic tickets. You know, I'm sovereign and all this, and I won a bunch of them, but no, the tickets, I can find someone to help you if it's California or Texas. And even if it's another state, I'll reach out. I've got a little bit of influence, you know, because I'm an SEO guy. So I help other lawyers and stuff with their marketing, and I'll ask around and see if I can help you guys. You can reach out to BZ Watchdog, by the way. He is, you know, all I ask is that, you know, that you like and subscribe to his channel and watch his videos to get his view hours up, because he's been invaluable helping out. So I want to keep that going. And David, I don't know. You know, I don't know. I think that the economy is worse now than it was during the Great Depression. And we could talk about that in another episode. Yeah, 75 trillion in debt. I mean, fiat currency. I mean, this isn't going to end well, guys. Truckers and farmers make our civilization. What I like about these live streams also, guys, is that we started out talking about dungeons, and now we're talking about truckers and farmers. And I really love that. And look at how Trudeau screwed over all those Canadian truckers. What a dick. And then ultimately the Supreme Court reversed his draconian, they had bad ideas, wrong ideas. You know, they weren't good going along with the government. So they were bad. You know, he was locking down their bank accounts, you know, destroying their social credit score that they borrowed from the communist Chinese that they're trying to do in California right now. Social credit score. If you disagree with a politician, you know, they'll you know, close down your bank account, not let you travel. Unbelievable, guys. This is like right out of a George Orwell novel. But yeah, that's what they do. These truckers are out there making civilization work, and they know what's going on because they see it every day. They're among the few people that are actually out in the world seeing with their eyes what's going on. Everybody else is behind their computer just typing, you know, especially lawyers. So yeah, that's right. I'm just looking here, guys. I'm not looking at all those ones. Look, I really appreciate all your support, especially for supporting Chille. On my stream tonight, I will. Oh, here. Wait a second. Let me take a look here. Last time we were on here. Okay, so far we've been able to raise about $2,080 for him on this one link. And this is for the second case. This is the the municipal court case. And I'm going to put that link really quick down here, guys. All right. So I put that link in there so you can see, hey, that's not bad. And so the idea is we're trying to find, hold on. We're trying to find a lawyer who will, you know, at least just appear for the purposes of trying to negotiate away the charge. Because remember, it's pre-trial. So there is a chance that the filing deputy could have a change of heart, or the head city attorney, after reviewing the exculpatory evidence as contained in the actual YouTube footage that Chille recorded, where you clearly hear and see several officers ushering Chille into the gas station area, and then another group of officers not liking it that he won't engage with them, and then they put their hands on him. That case, I don't see that being a good case. And I think that if I was the prosecutor, I would dismiss those charges with prejudice. I don't think that those charges should have ever been filed. And we went through that in the last video that I did on this channel a couple of days ago. Let me see, what time is it now? Give me 1 second, guys. Sure. Yeah, I should probably get ready for the next one. So guys, I will make best efforts then. I will make best efforts to do a show tomorrow with BZ where he's out auditing. Either way, I'll do one on my channel, and then, but on this channel, if BZ wants to, we could do a stream from here. I just have to come up with something to talk about. I got to come, you know, so tell me in the sidebar, what do you guys want me to talk about that's something I can do? Or Brick Jonesy, somebody, well, anybody on this one at 8:30, come to @Michael Eline. I'm going to have another one where I show you examples of a genuine, the police soliciting a trespass, and that way, because it's going to be a great example, and it's a video that I'm gonna borrow parts from what civil rights lawyer did, and he's really good, but I sort of spun from what he did more into something that a lot of people in the auditor and cop watch community talk about, which is the soliciting a trespass thing, and it's kind of confusing, and I just want to put it to rest so people can understand what's going on. We've been on this for about an hour. There's about 190 people or so in here so far, so that's a pretty good turnout. Do me a favor, anybody who can, try and contribute to Chille's legal defense fund for the crime scene tape case, and hopefully we can get those charges tossed, because he's got bigger and better fish to fry, in my opinion. And then and then Mountain Man, I think I'm supposed to go on Mountain Man's show, by the way. Mountain Man, join me tonight at my channel in about a half hour if you want, and let's see if we can arrange that. And forgive me, everybody. I know people have been trying to get a hold of me. I've been in conference and just absolutely buried up to my elbows, and it's really, really hard for me to get back to people, and things fall through the cracks. It's, I'm not gonna make up stupid excuses. Just things are falling through the cracks. But I do want to help the people that I can help, and the people that I personally can't help, I want to try and help you find someone who can help you. So just please understand that. And then the link, Anthony, I don't know if you mean to my channel, but it's the @MichaelE line. Hold on. If you look on the screen, it says @MichaelE line. And if you just go there in about a half hour, you can hang out with me, and we'll talk about what soliciting a trespass really is, where the police do it, and just what an amazing, rare example this is, but it is an example, and we'll talk about it. And thank you, Stacy. You're kind as well. Everybody's kind to show up and spend some of their time as a group. I mean, that's a lot of people to come out and support somebody, especially somebody who gets so much negative press. I mean, there's a whole industry on YouTube that wouldn't even be able to get any views if Chille DeCastro didn't exist. You think they'd be nicer to you guys, right? But anyways, all right, I'm going to close this bad chicken out. So that being said, make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to save, because we never know when the thought police are going to take down this channel. And so when I say save, what I mean is save it to your computer, because a lot of the stuff that I talk about, there's some nuggets in there that you're always going to want to remember it, and you're going to go, man, I wish I would have saved it. So save it. And